The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark.
Glory to you, Lord.
Jesus and his disciples set out for the villages of Caesarea Philippi. Along the way, he asked his disciples, "Who do people say that I am?" They said in reply, "John the Baptist, others Elijah, still others one of the prophets." And he asked them, "But who do you say that I am?" Peter said to him in reply, "You are the Christ." Then he warned them not to tell anyone about him. He began to teach them that the Son of Man must suffer greatly and be rejected by the elders, the chief priests, and the scribes, and be killed, and rise after 3 days. He spoke this openly. Then Peter took him aside and began to rebuke him. At this, he turned around and, looking at his disciples, rebuked Peter and said, "Get behind me, Satan. You are thinking not as God does, but as human beings do." He summoned the crowd with his disciples and said to them, "Whoever wishes to come after me must deny himself, take up his cross, and follow me. For whoever wishes to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake and that of the gospel will save it." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Today is Catechetical Sunday. We recognized and will bless many of you who pass the faith on to others. The root of that word, catechesis, comes from Greek. It means to echo or resound. So a catechist is one who echoes our faith to others. They teach the answer to the question that we hear Christ say today in the gospel. Who do you say that I am? Ultimately, catechists strive to help others grow closer to Christ. They help them to grow and improve their relationship with God. Many of our catechists teach our children in our RE, our religious ed program. The children many times speak the truth in profound ways. I recently ran across a few tidbits written down of children who were talking or praying to God. I will share 5 of them with you. Nan said while praying, "I bet it is very hard for you to love all of everybody in the whole world. There are only 4 people in our family and I can never do it." Donna wrote, we read that Thomas Edison made light, but in Sunday school they said you did it. So I bet you stole your idea, or he stole your idea. Sincerely, Donna. Charles wrote, "I do not think anybody could be a better God." Well, I just want you to know that I'm not just saying that because you are God. Eugene said as he prayed, "I didn't think orange went with purple until I saw the sunset you made on Tuesday. That was cool." And I will finish with Nora. As she was speaking to God, she said, "I don't ever feel alone since I found out about you." So do these youngsters fully understand who God is? No. Does anyone fully understand who God is? But they do, or they're beginning a relationship with him, the beginning of one. You know, when Jesus uttered the words, "Who do you say that I am?" over 2,000 years ago, to some degree, he may have been measuring the faith level of his own apostles. He's also definitely laying the groundwork of truth in the world. And if you look at this scene where this happened, where this occurred, Caesarea Philippi is known as a place back then of the gods with a lowercase g. It was formerly the center of worship of the god of Baal. Philip the Tetrarch erected a very large white marble structure, a temple for the godhead of the Roman Empire, Caesar there. It is said to have been the birthplace of Pan, the Greek god of nature. Jesus knew where he was. He was isolated pagan territory. True God, true man arrives and starts to speak the truth in the heart of this pagan community. And then we have Peter, who from his heart and his mind proclaims, "You are the Christ, the Messiah." So the disciples are beginning to understand, but even their relationship with God, it struck me. They're with Christ, right? Physically with Christ. Spiritually, they're growing and learning. Recently, I read a book written by Peter Kreeft. The name of the book is called Jesus Shock. Father Brian and our youth minister Marty shared it with me. It's been around for a number of years. When we first started reading this book, it has 35 questions. I'm not going to go over all 35, so just relax. But I'm going to share 3 questions. You can think to yourself how you would answer these. If you get the book, you can answer the questions yourself. But I'm kind of giving you a heads up. The first question, name 3 of the greatest persons in the world today. So my mind thinks, greatest people in the world, greatest people in the world. So I'm thinking the Pope, there are heroes, martyrs. So I scribbled down a few answers. The second question, who do you think is the most powerful person, good or bad, in the world today? So again, I'm thinking there's some terrible cartels in the world, terrible dictators. I think of some good people too. I scratched down some names. Number 3, and I'll end with this one. When you need advice, who do you turn to when it's about money, marriage? For each one of these, answer the question. Well, I have a great relationship with my wife. I write her name down. I've gone to pastors. I've gone to Father Gakey for advice. I write his name down. So I get through all 35 questions. And I get down to the next thing Peter Kreeft is writing. And it's almost like he was talking directly to me, because he says in his book, surely you wrote down for the first question, the 3 greatest persons are the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And I thought, I'm in big trouble. Because then he talks about, and the most powerful person, that would be Jesus, right? And when you need advice, the Trinity, take your pick. That would be the first place you would naturally go. And in my mind, the scriptures that we heard later, from the very beginning, echoed in my mind when Jesus says, "Get behind me, Satan, because you're thinking as human beings are and not as God." It's so easy to remove God from our daily interactions in life. Why do we do that? And then it struck me, like I said earlier, the apostles were with Christ, learning spirituality. We, hopefully, are growing our spirituality. But I think many times we forget about the presence of Christ in this world. The presence of Christ in the Eucharist at every Mass. The presence of Christ in one another, that we see in one another, that we can be the hands of Christ to others. So today, Jesus is asking you, who am I to you? He knows every one of you. Every one of you. If he forgot you, you wouldn't exist. He wants a relationship. He will never come to you and push you down the stairs and say, wake up. We are called through faith to search for him. That's what gives us free will. The ability. If he pushed you down the stairs and you turned around and it was Jesus, you'd pretty much believe right away. But he doesn't want that. He wants you to have free will, to take him in to you and to build that relationship. So how can you do that in this world? How can you do that today, starting today? How do you become closer to him? Well, if you like to travel, let's say you're homebound. You can do a Bible study online now. You can travel through the Bible. You will never stop learning about the Bible and all the history and the connections in the Bible. And if you're an internet junkie, you have no excuse. There are so many resources. I don't know if you're aware of this, but the parish spends almost $2,000 a year on a program called forms.org, which on our website, it gives you the code. You can put it on your tablet, you can project it up on your television screen. You can learn, you can watch movies for children about the saints. There's many things, many ways you can learn all the different prayer styles that we are blessed to have in the Catholic faith. Do these things. Why? To better understand God, to become closer to God. Do these things to find internal peace, that no matter what comes your way, God is your anchor. I've been there. It is awesome, but yet I forget about him when I'm filling out a 35 questionnaire, right? God is your anchor. Every storm you can get through. Strive for that relationship. Ultimately, the goal and the graces, you will be like Nora that I began with, who said, I don't ever feel alone since I found out about you